Hi everyone, Mark Merrill with Firm, the journals, plural this time. What is future now? Our topics being covered, folks, are several, but mostly three that are important over the past several days. So we head into the middle of May, towards the end, and even closer to the June 9th primaries when it comes to all of the political races for state, governor, and United States Congress. Shawn Packard, who you see here before you folks, is founder and owner of Red Claw Media. Why the freedom for Shawn? We're about to explain it. He's an AI expert as well, artificial intelligence. He also teaches and instructs Maine Technical Center through Waterville School District here in Maine. But since running for state legislature that he announced a while back, representing District 64 here in Waterville, seems some Mid-Maine Technical Center committee members suggested that he step down from his voluntary advisory committee. Oh, really? Why? Oh, maybe because he's a Republican. Is that fair? So we at Firm, folks, we contacted Superintendent of Waterville Schools Peter Hallen by email and got his reply to our inquiry. Here it is, verbatim, to the point. It's all documented, folks. We might even take this to a courtroom if we need to. You know, enough with being cut down and told that, you don't belong where we have ownership of the city in which we live. Us liberals here in little tiny 16,000, maybe 17,000 population Waterville, Maine. Oh, really? Who died and made you God? Someone want to answer that question for me? I don't get it. So, the email we sent to Mr. Hallen, Peter Hallen, wish we had a picture, but we don't. We'd throw darts at it. Mr. Hallen, I'm an independent journalist based in the greater Waterville area, reporting on local, statewide, and national issues that affect all Americans. My inquiry started with a news program on WVOM radio in Bangor about Shawn Packard and his teaching or instructing students at the Mid-Maine Technical Center. Mr. Packard, who you see here, was originally named to the Mid-Maine Technical Center Committee, Mid-Maine Technical Center Committee Board, but is not sure of the time frame that he has been on the committee. In other words, we didn't do enough research to find out when he has actually been and how long he'd been serving as a volunteer to help students at the Mid-Maine Technical Center. Recently, though, Shawn had decided to run for public office in Maine, had all his paperwork together. Probably took a few months to get that together. But since that time, it seems from the news report on WVOM radio, who you can certainly check out, folks, and we'll make sure you have a link, Mr. Packard had been asked to step down from the committee with no apparent reason by the Waterville School District. On May 19th, I spoke directly to the Mid-Maine Technical Center Director, Gabe Levesque, on this issue, but he referred me to the superintendent's office for additional background information and clarification. So I asked in the email, please contact me, Mr. Hallen, as soon as possible on this issue at my email address and or phone number to discuss further. Also, a statement from your office would be appreciated. Thank you, Mark A. Merrill, owner of Firm. Within, folks, a couple of hours after the email was sent to him on May 20th. Thank you for reaching out, Mark. I can confirm, said Mr. Hallen, that the individual you referred to previously in a volunteer advisory capacity supporting programming at Mid-Maine Technical Center. That service has ended, and the decision was not related to political affiliation or candidacy, he stated. and posted in his email. We do not comment further on individual volunteer matters. If you have additional questions about our Mid-Maine Technical Center or Advisory Committee structure, I'm happy to provide general information. Peter Hallen, Superintendent, Waterville Public Schools. We responded back within 6 minutes of receiving his email reply on the status of Mr. Packard here, just instructing his students, had nothing to do with him registering to run for public office. Nothing to do with it. But I remain polite, folks, in this particular matter, as I would any other. Hi, Peter. Thanks for confirming that the service ended and clarifying it wasn't political. Yeah, right. I would appreciate the general information regarding the Mid-Maine Technical Center Advisory Committee structure, either by directing me to the information online on your website, or when convenient for you, just to send me an outline if it's not too lengthy in detail. Thanks again, Mark M. at Firm. And that's the way I ended it, folks. Mr. Hallen, it seems, maybe some biased committee members, teachers perhaps? That's a guess, folks. That's all I'm doing is taking a guess. Don't seem to like anybody who volunteers to help students at the Mid-Maine Technical Center. Volunteers, by the way, with all of his expertise in his organization, Red Claw Media, and you can look them up as well online. Anybody who has an R next to their name. What is future now? You know what we're living in. And it stinks to high heaven. It's a landfill dump. Greater Waterville stinks to high heaven. Hope the surrounding towns don't take offense. Yet. Now, in addition to Shawn's business, he is also serving on boards in Greater Waterville, such as the Alphond Youth Center, Founders Club. Oh, what does he do there? Non-political stuff, apparently. Discover Waterville and Mid-Maine Chamber of Commerce, focusing on supporting local businesses and strengthening community programs. He works at protecting Maine's youth and reforming the foster care system, strengthening communities and supporting small businesses. Try that again. Strengthening communities and supporting small business, defending renewable resources, improving practical education, addressing addiction and homelessness, with compassion and accountability. Oh, there's a couple of words that the Democrats never heard of. And restoring common sense leadership. Oh, wow, there's a phrase you never hear except here on Firm. It's all over our car. It's all over everything we post. It's all on every single doggone podcast that we've broadcast going back about 4.5 years. Truth, facts, reality, and common sense. Damn right. Mr. Packard is running for District 64, which covers Waterville, Winslow. It's being opposed by Democrat Flavia De Brito in the primary, but we found out after talking to Shawn himself, which we will get to, and let you know more about that in just a moment, we had Shawn Packard's reaction. This is Superintendent Hallard's viewpoint as to why he was let go. Also, a couple of more things here, folks, on Firm. We're talking about what is future now. We're living it. He is a Republican candidate, as we said, in District 64. But although the primary is scheduled for June 9th, like most all the others that are running for office either in the state or at the local level, it will only matter in the general election on November 3rd of this year. Why? Because Ms. Flavia DeBrito, I want to make sure we have her name pronounced correctly, is not running against another Democrat for this district seat as a Democrat. Neither is Shawn, running against another Republican. He's seeking to represent Kennebec County in central Maine, where he has deep personal and community ties. His political journey is rooted in first-hand experience with Maine's foster care system. First of all, at age 14, Shawn was working alongside state leadership, including former Governor Paul LePage and DHHS officials. At 16, he helped draft the Maine Foster Youth Bill of Rights through the Youth Leadership Advisory Team, traveling to Washington, D.C. to advocate for legal protections for foster youth. Oh, gee, it's not like he's been doing nothing. Like the Democrats bitch and moan, their favorite indoor sport. Shawn is a proud husband, father, entrepreneur, as you can see, Red Claw Media, founder of that firm and business, and active in artificial intelligence. We're just getting started, folks. Firm Journals is our topic on what is future now. You really want to know the answer to that question? Well, here's the answer that Shawn gave after hearing from Mr. Hallen. We talked to Shawn Packard by phone. On the same day, we got the answer early in the day from Superintendent Hallen on his opinion and views. But Shawn was not surprised by Hallen's statements, but believes the motivation to drop Shawn from the advisory committee was, quote, purely politicians and political motivated. So we thank Shawn and also Mr. Hallen for their contributions. But we must move on, folks, and we certainly wish Shawn the best. Our next topic, folks, we're going to get into right off here, has to do with the Maine Wire and Steve Robinson and his Robinson Report. An additional segment coming up here has to do with a Maine Wire and also WVOM radio news release and program on a particular day in the last few days. Steve Robinson reports back on May the 12th, is Maine's liberal media protecting Democrats on Maine care fraud? Well, gee, let's take a look, shall we? Now, we're going to show you some of these people. Some you know, some you don't, and probably just as soon not. So to answer that question, is Maine's liberal media protecting Democrats on Maine care fraud? Well, there's an answer to some of that right there. I think you already know Graham Plattner. Troy Jackson over there, who's running one of the many Democrats running for governor. At the very top here, folks, as we're going to lengthen this, our podium, our portable podium a little bit further, so you can at least see Mr. Plattner and that it is him. There we are. back it up just a little bit for even more knowledge on your part. Seems, ladies and gentlemen, there's still a lot of protesters in Waterville, and they don't seem to be too intelligent. Why do we say that? Well, if you see some of the signs up here that they've been protesting for months and months and months and weeks over at Elm Plaza in Waterville, which is on Upper Main Street, right in the heart of the flow of traffic at rush and lunch hour, midday. But as Maine's 2026 governor's race heats up, one issue continues to loom over Augusta, which is Maine Care, and the fraud, improper payments, overbilling, weak oversight, and whether taxpayer dollars are being protected. Rick Tyler and Paul Wolf of WVOM Radio asked why Democratic candidates for governor are not being pressed harder on the issue during debates. Gee, I don't know. Are they afraid that they're going to be exposed? It's terrible to be exposed, isn't it? The question has been the center of months of reporting by the Maine Wire, which aggressively covered alleged Maine Care fraud, and I'm sure most of you out there are aware of that. Provider overbilling, audit filings, internal DHHS communications, federal scrutiny, and growing concerns that Maine taxpayers may be footing the bill for a system with serious oversight failures. During the Maine Wire gubernatorial debate in late March at the Cross Center in Bangor, Robinson raised the issue to the Republican candidates, what they would do. The same level of scrutiny has not been as visible as the Democrat detainees. Oh, really, Mr. Jackson, and all of your others who are running for governor, and yet you point fingers at Bobby Charles during a debate back in March? Graham Plattner doesn't bring it up. He's running for United States Senate. These morons up here, protesters, as you can already see as we've posted at Elm Plaza in Waterville, what do? All they have is TDS, Trump Derangement Syndrome, and that's all their signs say, so we're not going to repeat them. Gateway Community Services. It's not theories anymore, folks. This has been going on years. A Portland-based behavioral health provider was referred for a fraud investigation before the state halted payments. Audits found the organization allegedly overbilled Maine Care by more than $1.7 million. Programs involve services for older Mainers, adults, disabilities, brain injury services, individuals with intellectual disabilities and autism-related needs. Nothing to do with TDS. Damn it. The United States Federal Department of Health and Human Services Office of Inspector General found Maine made at least $45 million in improper Medicaid payments tied to rehabilitative and community support services for children diagnosed with autism. Federal auditors recommended Maine repay roughly $28 million of it. They done it? Nope. Janet Mills pushed back, arguing the federal audit did not allege fraud and calling the scrutiny politically motivated. Once again. This is getting ridiculous, all right? First, Shawn. Now, ignorance on the part of the Democrats. If millions are being lost through fraud, improper payments, overbilling, weak documentation, and delayed enforcement, every candidate for governor should have to answer one basic question: what will you do to stop it? Steve Robinson reported it and asked, and so did the Maine Wire. And we've been reporting it for the last 7 months. Mark Merrill for Firm. We're talking about future, folks. It doesn't look too bright, but what is future now? Gotta deal with it now. Let me tell you. Some of these people up here aren't helping. Our last topic today, folks, we're talking about an organization called Club for Growth. I'll tell you more about that here. It is an organization that you should be aware of and should take advantage of, as they are online and they do provide quite a bit of information that is vital to our country's prosperity and to remain a republic, not a democracy. Congress, they say, was never supposed to be a permanent institution, said Club for Growth. Career politicians turned it into exactly that, a place where the same faces stay entrenched for decades, asked Schumer and Pelosi. But they are shielded by incumbent advantages, special interest money, George Soros, probably even China for all we know, and a system they've rigged to protect themselves. First, it's being exposed and being accountable. Yike. Now it's about protecting themselves financially. Gated communities. We have a big mouth when we're on TV with MSNBC and CNN, or talking to the Wall Street Journal, or New York Times and Washington Post, for crying out loud. Then they go home and then, get in their fancy cars or maybe limousines for all we know. But Club for Growth is collecting petitions from Americans across the country, ladies and gentlemen, and delivering them directly to every member of the House and Senate. All Americans' names should be on this petition. It's a direct message to Congress. The people are watching and they demand term limits. I know, you've probably heard this before. Rattle, 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 and nothing gets done. 80% of American citizens support term limits. The only thing missing is the organized pressure to make lawmakers act, and that's where the American people come in. So, for more information, folks, we're going to give you a little bit on Club for Growth. We will certainly make sure that these links, prior ones we were just talking about with Shawn Packard, and also the Democratic Party, both in Maine and the United States, federal party. Club for Growth Foundation is a nonprofit dedicated to educating the public about the benefits of free markets and pro-growth economic policies. A 501c3, folks. They aim to promote economic freedom and limited government through various education initiatives, and the focus is on informing the public about key economic policies and their implications, striving to create a more informed citizenry regarding economic issues. The foundation conducts research and produces reports that analyze economic policies and their effects on society, and events to educate leaders about free market principles and effective communication strategies. They hold congressional vote studies each year. The foundation publishes a study that evaluates how members of Congress vote on issues related to economic freedom. And they also promote and create for distribution state economic scorecards. Introduced in 2018, the scorecards aim to increase transparency and inform the public about state-level economic policies. That is it, pretty much, folks, when it comes to our farm journals. And what is future now? We are dealing with it. Before we leave, I have a sign-off for you. Hope you enjoy it. And everybody stay safe. But keep in mind, June 9th, to make sure that you vote for your candidate to lead our country out of despair and non-accountability to prosperity and less government. Everyone take care. In the meantime, We are firm. I am Mark Merrill, Fairness in Reporting Media. And you can get our podcasts, such as this one right here, anytime, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Initially, to contact us, though, is right here at the bottom. fairnessinreportingmedia@gmail.com, fairnessinreportingmedia@gmail.com. We'd also like to hear from you in regard to any ideas on topics that you feel need to have more attention. Also, we are on Substack, YouTube, and Twitter or X. Pray for our state. Pray for the primaries coming up, folks. Do your research and check out all the things that Susan Collins has done in the background on her opponent. And also, let's look to securing and restoring the state of Maine in 2026 when the November elections come around. Everyone stay safe. Peace to all. In the meantime, we are firm. I am Mark Merrill, Fairness in Reporting Media. And you can get our podcasts, such as this one right here, anytime, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Initially, to contact us, though, is right here at the bottom. fairnessinreportingmedia@gmail.com, fairnessinreportingmedia@gmail.com.